All right, well, good afternoon, and thank you for coming out this rare Friday afternoon media briefing on November 22nd, 2019. Now, our last media briefing just this past Tuesday, I shared that I would be pulling from the agenda the items of the quality of life grants from the Committee of the Whole for further review. The next day, my staff and I spent time personally reviewing applications, particularly those who were not recommended for funding for Community Development Block Grant Quality of Life funding. This is why we're here today. Of the 6 applications that were not funded, 3 were youth related. Of those 3, 1 was from an organization based in Chicago, and the other 2 were organizations right here in the city of Aurora. I'm going to ask my friend Robin Sturkle and Elaine Johnson to join me up here at the podium. Thank you. Robin represents Urban Youth Ministries that serves 100 Aurora youth, 85 in elementary school and 30 in middle and high school. Elaine represents Agape Connection that serves 130 Aurora youth, 80 in the Sankofa program and 50 in the Dreams Wax Museum. Now, before I announce my recommendations for both these organizations here in Aurora, I'm going to ask each of them to share a little bit about their respective programs. Mr.
Hi, thank you for having us this afternoon. We're very blessed by it. So I am the Urban Youth Ministry Program Coordinator for Wayside Cross Ministries. And we actually, the mayor's cracked in who we serve during the school year, but we also serve a lot of the same students in the summer, which we have an 8-week summer camp. It's a day camp, and it's for 8 weeks, 5 days a week, serving first grade through seniors in high school. And we also have a baseball league that serves over 200 students. Everything we offer is free to at-risk youth on the east side of Aurora. The really cool thing about us is we have a 75% retention rate. So we pull in our kids when they're in first grade, and we hang on to them until they graduate from high school. So it develops not only deep relationships with those kids, but also with their families. So when something comes up, if there is a fire in a home or a family is in need of something, they come to us and they trust us because we've been serving their children. And we rely solely on donor money and also grants like the one from the city of Aurora. And we're very blessed to have wonderful relationships with so many different Aurora organizations. Aurora Township, Fox Valley Park District, the city, and many more churches and organizations here in Aurora. So we are just so grateful for whatever we're going to hear today, announcement from the mayor, that our city will continue to back us as we serve the at-risk children that they have so much hope in their future. If we just give them a chance, that's all they need is a chance, and we give them a safe place weekly, and in the summer daily, and then during the summer months as well, keeping them off the streets and in a real productive place. And so we just thank you very much, Mayor, for this invitation today.
Ms. Johnson.
Good afternoon. My name is Elaine Johnson, and I am the treasurer for Agape Connection. Agape has been in existence since approximately 1996, and we serve primarily young people from kindergarten through the 8th grade. And our Sankofa program, which is the thing that we've had going for the longest, is a program to make sure that the children in our community, particularly the African American community, understand their history and the perspective of where we come from and what we have accomplished or not accomplished in the places where we are. We operate out of St. John AME Church, mostly. Right now we have a current program, the Sankofa program, which is operating twice a month on a Saturday. And we take one of those Saturdays and we actually go to Eastwood Housing Development, and we use their community service there, their community center, to service the children within that area so they don't have to try to get to St. John. And so we have probably about 25 to 30 students right now for this year. In the past, we have also had other programs where we have introduced music. We had a community choir for a short time, probably for a couple of years. And now we're hoping to reinstate that particular community choir in order to reach other cultures and other groups within the community, because we realize that music is really an international language. And if we incorporate them and many of the students within that group, then they can really communicate with each other. And we found that to be very positive when we did it once before. It was just kind of difficult to sustain because we just didn't have enough money in order to be able to hire someone on a regular basis to keep the program going. So we're hoping that whatever the announcement is today, that we can utilize those funds in order to do the community choir once again. So thank you again for being here and for giving us the support for this program. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Now, as you can see, these are programs that impact the quality of life for Aurora residents, particularly our youth. While not initially recommended, upon further review, I'm going to earmark money from our former Aurora Cares Fund, which is separate from our Quality of Life grants, to provide assistance for the Urban Youth Ministries and Agape Connection. And let me just say that Ms. Sturkle came to our COW meeting and gave a passionate, compassionate plea about the students that she represents and the importance of continuing to represent their interests. And as I sat there and listened to her, I remembered that oftentimes in government, when we work on budgets and we move money around from one location to another attempting to balance, that money is sometimes attached to people.
Yes.
And as I sat there in COW and listened to you speak, I thought that I could be one of those kids, because I know you serve a number of kids in Aurora Housing Authority out in Southwind, just like you serve a number of kids out in Aurora Housing Authority out in Eastwood. And I grew up in Aurora Housing Authority in Indian Trail. So as I sat there, I thought that these kids could be me. And we can't forget about, when we're talking about numbers and budgets, the people that this affects.
Exactly.
Therefore, in finding this money that we found in an old account that we were saving for a rainy day, recognized today as that rainy day, we would like to grant both organizations $10,000 apiece so they can continue to be successful in the state of Aurora. Please give them a round of applause for everything they do. Now, I'd like to take it another step, if I may. I'm asking the Aurora community to do what we have done so well this year in support of organizations just like these. I'm asking you, based on the fact that it is giving season, for you to support these important organizations that mean so much to our community. Organizations like these provide a valued service that is immeasurable in Aurora. And when we can help you, I believe we must. And these organizations have their particular websites, and what I'll do is, if you don't mind, I'd like people to look on their web pages and look to donate on their websites. If you can just give your website for a second and tell people.
So ours is pretty easy, waysidecross.org/kids. So.
And ours is agapeconnection.org.
All right. So, in addition, recognizing how important our social service communities are, organizations are, and that many times our citizens don't even know that you exist and what you do. I thought it was important for both of you to come so we can make a plea to our community to support you, as a city is supporting you, and will continue to support you. I just think it's extremely important that we recognize what we need to do and we step up and handle the responsibility. Nonprofit organizations, you provide a regular outlet for our youth and our students to achieve, and for us to disregard that or not recognize that, I think was irresponsible on our part. So what I'm going to do from this point on, starting January 1st, right currently I have 2 media briefings, the first and third Tuesday at 4:30, right before COW. We're going to add another one, maybe even 2 more community briefings, media briefings. And our Deputy Mayor, Chuck Nelson, will be the person in charge of those briefings. At each one of those briefings, we're going to invite a social service agency, highlight what they do for our youth, for our community, for our city, and we're going to make a plea for all those organizations to be supported, because we believe that what you do is important for our community, and it's unsung, and I look at you as unsung heroes, and we want to sing a song for you and make sure people are aware of what you do. All right? So be looking, starting in January 2019, I'm sorry, 2020. 2020, that we're going to start highlighting organizations, and I look to invite both of you to come back and once again tell our community what you're doing, how your successes are, and let them know that they're always welcome to help. All right. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming out and participating. I hope this money can help, and if we can do any more, throughout the year, we'll definitely step up and handle the responsibility. All right.
Could I just make an announcement that January the 19th, Agape is having a Martin Luther King brunch, that celebration that day, and it's going to be held at the Hyatt on Route 53 in Lisle, and it's a wonderful, wonderful occasion. What we do there is that we have students to apply for to participate in an oratorical contest from the local high schools, and then the top 3 receive a monetary scholarship award from that event. So again, that's on January the 19th at the Hyatt, and we would love to have you there. The tickets are $75.
All right.
Thank you. And I have some.
And I've been to that event, and I've seen some of the most talented young people that you would ever come in contact with, that I would take notes from. Matter of fact, I think it was last year, I asked one young man, I said, can you please let me borrow that speech that you just gave? Because I will give that speech somewhere if you allow me to. Well, thank you again, ladies, for coming out. And do we have any questions from the media? Yes, sir.
I know there's not enough grant money for every charity and organization, but how hard and how do you make the decisions to, who gets what? And I mean, it's not easy, I'm sure.
Well, and it's not, and we have a rubric that we try to measure. And again, with what I said earlier, that oftentimes we look at these rubrics and we look at these ways where we measure, the organization's success rate, or whether they're worthy to receive the money from the community development block grants, quality of life grants. Sometimes you forget about the fact that this money is attached, to youth. So although we have in the past looked at a way to measure, which organizations that we're going to award money to, I think we're going to look at it a little bit more deeply into the future. Question?
How's the Aurora, you said it was the Aurora Cares.
Aurora Cares, right.
How is that different than a quality of life grant?
Well, Aurora Cares is a grant that existed years ago. Matter of fact, this was money that we recently found during my administration, but it was leftover money from the previous administration that was just kind of in a bank account at United Way. And when we located this money, recognized that Aurora Cares was a defunct organization no longer in existence, that we could potentially use it for something like this, we decided that today, now is the time.
Have you used it? Is this the first time it's been used?
Yes.
Since it? Okay.
Since I came to office. It was used last time was maybe 5 years ago during the Weiser administration. Yes.
Just a question for Elaine Johnson. I wasn't writing fast enough. Could you repeat your website and spell it out?
Oh, it's Agape, AGAPE, Connection, CONNECTION.org.
Great, thank you.
Any additional questions? Yes, ma'am.
It's more. How did you guys decide on $10,000 each?
Well, based on the amount of money that we have in that Aurora Cares account, we thought that would be, you know, a fair amount at this particular time, and look to in the next, you know, next year to see what we can do to support these organizations even more. Just no questions. All right. Well, that concludes the media briefing for today.